Yeah.
And sometimes this waste and these leakages happen at the budgeting process, right?
Not sometimes, a lot of
Always.
times.
In fact, always.
To
be honest, sometimes corruption is actually budgeted for, right? At the formulation.
It is.
Budget has 3 stages. It has formulation, execution, and control. Now, when you talk about the Auditor General, you've jumped to control. But before the control happens, you guys, we as legislators have the role to ensure that it's not budgeted for in the first place. So again, we need to, as legislators, take responsibility that perhaps have we also presided over a formulation process that actually allowed some of these things. So again, for me, in fact, it's very good you guys are sitting on the budget committee. The place to watch is the formulation stage. Yeah. By the time it's being executed, if it's already been approved at the formulation stage, how do you have the authority to ask something that has already is being expended against a budget, approved budget, for instance?
Actually, what I was going to say,
yes,
that, and I've said it here actually before, I think in this show, that the first place to look is budget.
Yes.
I'm not an economist, I'm a lawyer, but it's been very interesting to me when I look at our budget, and I like equating the budget to my house budget. There's no concept, the concept is pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. And if that's why I'm telling you Kenya is not broke, I can see, like now the whole of this week, we are meeting departmental committees, we are sitting until 9 and 11 p.m. meeting departmental committees with their budgets. And you can actually see some of the things that are budgeted for. I'm like, honestly, why do we need this thing? Mm-hmm. You know, if I am in my house and I see that I'm having challenges of money, do I go and buy
ice cream?
Like just the other day I came from, I was in Hong Kong a week ago, and I saw a beautiful, beautiful bag. And I desired it with all my heart.
But you couldn't
But
buy
it was 245,000 Kenya shillings. And I had at that point 245,000. But then I said, I have school fees for so and so and so and so. So do I buy that bag, or do I go and pay school fees? So I let go the bag, and I came and paid school fees. And that is the concept of budgeting. If you look at the budget of Kenya, we are buying a 245,000 bag and not paying school fees. Every single ministry that you see is buying a bag worth 245,000. There are things that we want, but we don't need them as a country. They are not necessarily bad, but we don't need them right now. And then it also goes to what Honorable Moses has said about how we've classified ourselves. We cannot classify ourselves and then have very poor fiscal management. If we have decided we want to show the world we are doing well, then we must manage well. We must have a firmer hand at how we are managing. And that therefore means, and I agree with you, that at budget level, to be honest, if we want to be serious as a country, then budget needs to actually chop half of the things that we put in that budget.
Do you raise them at that level? Do you raise them and say these are unnecessary?
We do raise it, but I don't know whether we've been brave enough. I think the dynamics in the past, like Moses has said, and you notice when he was saying, I was smiling, because politics is like a seesaw. You turn round and it becomes, it's an interesting thing. Just the other day, we are very strongly in the opposition. Now because of the handshake, we are a bit slow and all that. But yet, even at that point, because we are a minority voice, even if we raise certain issues, nobody would listen to us.
Okay.
But now again, because of the handshake, we are very gentle to each other. So those are the political realities that you have to deal with.
Kenyans on social media right now think the three of you are not honest.
Yes, I think we are being honest.
They think you're not honest. But they're your voter. You can just dismiss it and say it's their choice.
No, it's their choice. We say what we have to say, but it is their choice to believe or not to believe.
The sense they're getting is you're defending the handshake instead of speaking facts.
No, we're just saying that we don't have any other country to live. We can only live with the realities of our country.
Moses, give me this analogy that Millie has given us. Yeah. In your own household, she said it's the same. She looks at her household budgeting. It looks as the same budget we use in the country. So give me this analogy. Would you spend 100 or 10,200 in your household if you're earning 9,000?
No, you cannot.
Then that's what's happening in the country.
On a light note, Miri was on that trip with Senator Tango as well. so I'm not sure that Senator would not have helped. They can an opportunity to help. But let me say this. I feel ashamed sometimes. I really feel ashamed.
Of your country?
Not of my country, but when we get some of the budgets we get out there. And they seem to be informed by the fact that last year we spent 1 billion on this program. So you start with 1 billion and now you start saying, is it 1.1? In other words, you don't have what we call zero-based budgeting, where you go back to basics, you restore factory settings and say, yes, I may have spent 1 billion last year, but is it really necessary today? Honestly, today I don't want to preempt the work of our committee because we've not concluded. But I look at one of the ministries, surely. I say, this is not a budget. It is just it's a criminal document.
Do you voice your concern?
We did, but you see now again, we say, but I hope next year, everybody says, I hope next year, I hope we have learned the lesson. In the previous years,
we have not been radical.
We have not been radical and bold enough, but in the previous years, the president used to call, even in the other parliament, the president used to call us as members of budget committee. I was still a member of the budget committee. Members of then ODM and CORD and Jubilee and everyone, and tell them, this is what I want. How I wish the president,
will do the
even the former prime minister, would jointly call us and tell us, if you find anything wrong with my budget from my ministries, do not hesitate.
Don't approve it.
Do not approve it, because you'll be helping me. So that we stop this sugarcoating and this correctedness.
You remember what happened last year after the budget was drawn and the judiciary's budget, development budget, was put at 50 million shillings. Do you remember the outcry? That's the time zero budgeting was institutionalized, right? But see what happened. If you do that again, you go back to zero budget, it will be the same thing.
We need to have a conversation, not as a budget conversation, but as a country.
As a country. Let me hear from Dr.
Ken, I'm glad Mheshimiwa Mabon and Honorable Moses Kura are here. Let me read to you what they have said in today's papers. Now, there is a document that is titled Unpacking the Estimates of Revenue and Expenditure for 2019-2020 and the Medium Term. And they are saying, this is the budget, the office of the budget in the parliament, that the 2019-2020 budget is higher than the approved ceiling by 78 billion. And they are further saying, they are accusing, and they are saying that the Treasury was masking the true budget deficit by using a set of numbers that ignore adjustments. In the 1970s, Martin Shikuku, the late, said, when he was enraged by the happenings, and he said that Kanu is dead, and that earned him a detention. With the greatest respect to our parliamentarians, I think Parliament is dead. Because what they are confessing, Ken, is that this country is on a free fall. Actually, they are saying that they wish they could do much, but there is the handshake, so they are slow on each other. That even if there was no handshake, the Jubilee side
will still
have the way.
Yes.
The truth of the matter is that the oversight role by Parliament is lacking.